Okay. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Night two, Summerslam. A lot to talk about. If you want to go check out night one's review, it's uploaded online right now. Went solo dolo on it the day before, but we are back with night two. Obviously, a lot more to talk about than night one in a way. And, we'll get to a little bit of night one later on to get just some final thoughts of it. But this is night two, Summerslam. New Jersey itself. So let's get into it. First off, let my co-host introduce himself for this review today.
Yes, man. Yes, SummerSlam was a decent show. But my name is Straight Face 40, and I'm back on the review. And yeah, it's a lot to say.
Yes, I like to call this night basically they stuck all the bigger matches in a way for night two than what they did for night one. And we'll get to more of that later on. But I felt like every match on this show was, well, literally was all stipulations on this show. Every stipulation match was on night two. I almost kind of felt like I was booking WWE Universe mode if this was the case. Because that's what it felt like.
That's how it felt to me too. I swear it was like, am I booking this pay per view? Because this is how I would book.
This is
But I,
Universe mode booking.
I also called it Extreme Rule SummerSlam.
Yeah.
that, that that's how it looked like.
Nah, seriously, like it really did because of so many hardcore style like matches out here. Everybody had a stipulation in this match, and it does make me think why put all the stipulation matches on night two instead of having a balance and putting on night one and two. It's like they saved all the bigger stuff for night two, and everything the day before was like Raw or SmackDown matches besides the main event, but everything else just kind of felt not pay per view quality.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would think it like why they did why usually they pace it out a smarter than that. When they book it WrestleManias, you know what I'm saying? They kind of they kind of space it out between the stipulation matches and the non-stipulation matches. They kind of good at that, but this night I guess somebody was lazy as hell over the weekend. Real talk, because you can't tell me that you it's like they just looked at a board and said, "All right, we're gonna put that half of the board on night one and that half of the board on night two." They didn't even look at the matches. That's how it seemed to me.
Yeah, it's almost like they put most of the title matches for, night two, and like anybody that had like some type of stipulation, we just gonna put it here. And night one, it's like we'll give you a sort of enough, but not everything in a way. So that's what it kind of looked like. And you want to talk about laziness? We're gonna get to lazy booking throughout this review because that's one thing that both of these nights lacked was the lack of build going into SummerSlam. Really, a lot of
Yeah,
stuff was somewhat built at the last second or announced at the last second. Maybe a few matches had build, but a lot of them really didn't have a lot going on going into this whole show. And one thing I'll say is before we get to the first match, is one thing Gerard had told me that it's kind of like AEW in a way. Like the TV may be bad, but almost like the pay per views end up being really good.
it, I want to add this because I definitely agree with Gerard on that. You know, but I also want to add this though. I don't see WWE getting any better with they booking throughout this whole year for the rest of the year. We only got like what September, October, November, December. Like, eh, I don't see them having long built to the pay per views. Remember, I mean, I know the clash in Paris is just 3 weeks away. Like, what type of build that you gonna have? You gotta start building up. Not to get off subject. Sorry about that, but I just trying to make a point. But when you got this pay per view coming up, you got to start booking Stephanie and Naomi soon. Am I right? Like,
Yeah.
what y'all gonna do right off the bat tonight? We gonna go right into that build? Come on, man. Like, I don't see WWE getting any better with their build throughout the rest of the year.
Well, that's the thing, and I'll say this before we get to the first match. That's every WWE pay per view now. Every pay per view is almost like 3 to 2 weeks. It's like one happens, and then another one is literally like in the next couple weeks, and that's why they can't count past five when it comes to these matches half the time. which it's like, okay, we got to get in the next one. The next one is like, damn, didn't y'all just have this like 2 weeks ago? Even when WrestleMania happened, Backlash was like in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, I know. It kind of reminded me of the early days of the brand split, where it was like a pay per view each every every 2 weeks or something. It kind of reminded me of the old days. They need to slow down. Real talk with the pay per view because your pay per view matches don't mean anything once we get there. Now I don't care if you put on a kick ass match. That brings me to like something like what we talk about with AEW or they build. Yeah, they put on some kick ass matches. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, before I even got to this match, I didn't care about this match. Now you want me to care because they did a couple of moonsaults and 450s. I don't care.
And yeah, let's transition to that because it's one thing I will say when it comes to 4 or 5 matches. How you stretching this out to be a 3.5, 4 hour show? It shouldn't really take that long. But then since you just brought up, moonsaults and stuff, let's get into the first match of the night, which in a way kind of feels like WrestleMania from a few months ago, and on night two also. Naomi versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the women's championship. Which literally almost the same people, except Naomi is the champion. I think I told you this early on. It's almost like, okay, we had one black woman, now we're inserting another black woman now. So, because someone brought that up to me yesterday, I'm like, well, damn, kind of got a point there when we really think about it. One thing to point from Naomi's entrance is that she had her dad out there to play the guitar for her theme song. Some say he was really messing up and didn't really know, but it was pretty cool to see that she had her dad come out and play her out for her.
Right.
I must have turned it on a little bit late because I kind of missed most of the entrances except Naomi's and whatnot. So when I turned it on, it was already kind of, somewhat,
Everybody else just did a regular entrance. There were
yeah.
no special entrance today. So
And I'll say this right here. This was a good match. I thought it was really enjoyable. I didn't expect it to be like Mania from, a few months ago, even though it's kind of got most of the same people in there. So this was still really good. I figured Naomi wasn't even going to lose anyways, and she was going to win by some type of roll up on somebody and win. Because, like, she just cashed in. She just got the title. So there was really no question that Naomi was ever going to lose here. But this was still an enjoyable match. I don't really got a lot to say from it. Like, it was a good opener, and Ripley ended up hitting the big riptide off the top rope, and Naomi just returned and rolled up Ripley and won the match from there. So, in a way, I know some people really probably thought EO was gonna get pinned because, let's be honest, EO's last title reign, she didn't really. Her title reign was nothing, honestly. EO barely even showed up on Raw after WrestleMania, so it's like, well, she had 1, 2 title fences, and we can't keep pinning EO, so they still protected Rhea in a way by doing the roll up. So yeah, Naomi retained. So this was good opener.
yeah, I really enjoyed the match. I enjoy the heel worker Naomi. She bailed out at the beginning of the match, didn't want nothing to do with it, so they had to come and get her. I like this match. It was like I said, like you said, it was a good match to start off with. I knew they were gonna try to start off with something hot, get the crowd going and stuff like that. And they got two of the best baby faces and one of their favorite heels now, you know, all in the same match. So I enjoy the match.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think Naomi's heel work is has been really great. Obviously, with the whole proceed with caution, Owen Hart, tape and everything. So it has really worked out for her. Like, her heel work has been great. Like, even throughout the match, I did like how she kind of bit Rhea's thumb throughout the match to break out of whatever hold she was having in, and just kind of like being a heel, like trying to get out the ring, and then the face start trying to chase after the end. So the heel work has been tremendous from Naomi. It's been great.
Yeah, definitely agree.
So definitely a good opener to kick off this show. Definitely enjoyed it. But let's move on to the next thing. I know they showed obviously more people throughout the night. Tyrese Halliburton, Nick Hogan, Michelle McCool. But then we get ready for the TLC match that is up next. And in attendance for this TLC match, they had the Dudleys and the Hardys out there, which obviously both teams will fight it bound for glory. I know the Hardys are the TNA Tag Team Champions right now. I'm gonna assume Devon is gonna be ready for this match.
Right.
Bound for Glory, even though I still think it was weird how they announced it at Slammiversary. So it's still kind of strange, but I'm assuming he's ready. I'm sure they wish they could have got Edge and Christian for this, but obviously Edge and Christian are in AEW. So given it's a big TLC match, hey, why not have the one of the innovators of the ladders and the tables out there? And honestly, going into this match, you brought up the word lazy booking and whatnot, because one thing me and Shaggy talked about, it is lazy booking going into this, because one, I do feel like with this TLC match, like we learned from WrestleMania, we didn't put the match on there and put it on SmackDown, but hey, we'll finally put it on pay-per-view this time, and we'll just add two more teams to it. Okay, so that's what I kind of thought, like, when it comes to lazy booking, since it looks like it's been everybody versus the Wyatts for the past month or two now. One thing I did like, this is one of my favorite matches of the night. I'll tell you that right from there. I really enjoyed this match. I knew it was gonna be a car wreck out there, obviously, and it was just the most insane spot you could really think throughout most of this match. Just with everybody even jumping the Wyatts from the get go. Um, I know obviously they got to keep bringing out the Slim Jim tables. I know it was a lot of dives. I know at one point Andrade tried to launch Phoenix up to the titles, which looked pretty cool, but they got cut off by the Profits. I know Gargano did like a DDT through Gacy through one of the tables outside, and this one was like a 4-way trifecta type of table thing because Loomis did like a big leg drop on Montez Ford through the table. Phoenix does a big frog splash on, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody on the table. Dawkins and Axiom, that goes into a what was it, a Spanish fly, the big front flip to the table on the outside. So it's a lot of crash and burn with everybody hitting tables to the outside then. But even can't but next we had more people. And here's one thing about this match. Obviously it's a lot of callbacks from the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian matches when it comes to TLC matches, obviously from SummerSlam and WrestleMania, and the multiple people getting involved, because then we got Candice LeRae out there, B Fab out there, Nikki Cross out there, and then Candice does climb the ladder, and Gargano tried to keep it in place, and Champ was watching out, but he got knocked into Gargano, and then like Candice crashed heavily through a ladder bridge, which snapped in half the whole ladder. So that was very brutal to see. And even Gargano, like, he didn't really, like, he kind of checked on his wife, but he kind of looked like, put his thumbs up, like, you okay? You okay? Okay, good. I can go for the titles then. And so I thought it was pretty crazy. And then Eric Rowan's getting involved in the match, and then the Profits beat him down with chairs for like almost a whole minute. So he gets back up, and they put him through a table. And then it's like what the gun. And I'm trying to name every crazy spot up all in this, okay? Because then even Champa, he got up to the ladder and he held on to the titles and he was hanging. And then Frazier, then you think they're gonna pull off the old Jeff Hardy hanging from the ladder, hanging from the titles and everything, and Edge coming for the spear, but that did not happen. Frazier crashed and burned, and Champa pulled himself up basically, almost like like he's hanging, but he pulls his whole core body strength up to like go almost upwards and stuff. It's pretty crazy when you see it. Okay, so that was pretty wild. And then everybody's got ladders in the ring at one point, and then they're all climbing up, but then they start crashing and burning, and then DIY end up getting knocked onto like four tables to the outside by I think it was like Uncle Howdy or something, Bo Dallas, so they get knocked down, and then it's like I don't know if it was the guns that was left or something, but I think it was like Frazier and no, not Frazier, Andrade and Phoenix and stuff. Because like I said, Uncle Howdy got involved, but he got like a sunset bomb through a ladder. But then like Loomis and Gacy, they do their double team finish on Phoenix, and they still retain the tag team titles after this wild TLC match. So it was one of my favorite things of the night. I think someone I heard say it best. This was the closest you were ever going to get to an Attitude Era style TLC match that has been seen in a very long time due to the most craziness of all spots in this match. So definitely a lot of wild stuff. I will say this: I kind of expected Phoenix and Andrade to win the tag titles.
Oh, I definitely thought that was a wild, crazy match. You know, you already know me, and it's not to my liking, but I understand that why people enjoyed it. All the crazy spots out there. Phoenix. I think it was no, I think it was Phoenix and Montez, not Montez. Angelo Dawkins. the Spanish Fly into the table. Man, one of my favorite spots on of the match. Um, I felt I felt like it was overbooked with the people coming in. I understand they try to make the call back from with Lita, Rhino, and who else?
Spike
Lita,
Dudley.
Spike Dudley. Yeah, Lita, Rhino, and Spike Dudley. I know y'all try to make that call back, but sometimes, man, I don't know about you, but sometimes I think they be forcing the callbacks. You get what I'm saying? Like trying to, hey guys, you remember this? Like, yes, yeah, we remember it, but y'all did it worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand they was trying what they trying to do, but it just didn't work for me. I I kind of figured that um that the YS6 look like the YS5. Though it don't even have a six person no more. I don't know. I guess I counted wrong, but I know I counted five people when I saw it on the stage.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
yeah, I'm like, what is the six? But but yeah, with the YS6 retaining, I kind of figured that was gonna happen. I didn't think they were gonna change the titles, give it to what's the name. I just didn't think that, but I don't know. It's one of those matches that it, for the for the start, I kind of figured I wasn't gonna like it, and I did it. But I understand, you know, everything can't be for you to like. You know what I'm saying? Some things you just gonna dislike, and this was one of those things I kind of disliked. It was just I think it was just, you know, I, too much to me. I don't know, but overall, it was an alright match.
I think I'll say this, like, going into this, I just feel like, yeah, it's lazy booking because they don't really have a story for all these tag teams, and it's just been just them kind of walking around, just, I guess, trying to fight the Wyatts. And listen, it's like come on, the Street Profits tag title reign literally was nothing. So it's
I
almost
know.
like you get the titles. It's like, how much does it matter? Like, they got the teams. It's just, how they book the teams really. So like sticking them all in another TLC match after you just did one like what 2-3 months ago on SmackDown. It's kind of is lazy to an extent because it's like, well, why didn't you just do the TLC match back at WrestleMania?
Yeah, here's the thing: the tag team division in WWE is just not good at all. From all brands, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, they just not good. And they just need to start really focusing harder on the tag team, so they won't have to go through car crash matches just to entertain the crowd because nobody cares about the titles. That's the only reason why they have to make a TLC multi-man big car crash match because nobody cares about the WWE Tag Team Championship. Nobody does. They just as irrelevant as the Women's Tag Team Championship. So it's like it just I don't know. I can't emphasize enough. That's the reason why they had to had to do the car crash. That's the reason why they had to do it the first time after WrestleMania. That's on SmackDown because nobody cares.
That's that's true. The same like you said, like Raw, SmackDown, and like I said, the women's ones, nobody really cares. Like they really don't. And I'll say this too. We spoke about this many months ago back at the Royal Rumble. Remember when we was talking about the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY and nobody gave a fuck when that match happened? And
Come
tag
on,
teams barely ever make it to pay-per-view. So this is like the first time in a
you talk
while.
about hold on. You talk about the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah, the 2 out of 3 falls
Yeah,
match.
yeah. See, right, that could have been a nice. That could ain't no could have. It was a good match. If you just look at it as a match, I, that was a good match because you got two veteran tag teams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it had story. It had story, but they just didn't tell the story the right way. They kind of rushed everything with DIY and Motor City Machine Gun. Soon as they walked in, oh man, they was our idols. Oh, we gonna turn on them. Like, hold on, time out. They kind of just went like they just did it make us feel like, man, these were their idols. Now it's like it was just a bad story. They didn't tell. It was a good story, but they didn't tell it right, and the result was you could hear a pin drop in that crowd when they was wrestling. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cared about that match.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like I said before, the tag teams don't even make the damn pay-per-views most of the time. So this is the first time in a long time they even made it here.
What is it? The first time since the Royal Rumble?
Oh God, I think so. Well, WrestleMania with the New Day and the War Record.
Yeah, yeah, I
Once
forgot.
again,
Yeah,
nobody gave a fuck.
nobody cared. Right. Once again, that was even worse because you had in the turn of the year, you had one of the hottest heel turns that it was in WWE in years, and y'all squandered it. Now they just walking around here with with all black on, talking to Grayson Waller. Come on, man.
And doing Papa John's Pizza Hut commercials now. Sorry,
Come
just
on,
Papa John's. What was it they had last night? Like on night one, they were just in the back with the rest of the people just eating Papa John's pizza.
come on, right. One of the hottest heel turns in the turn of the year. Soon as man, 2025, one of the it had one of the hottest heel turns, and then that's what you do.
Yeah, they dropped the New Day badly.
That was bad. That was bad.
They really dropped the New Day badly. That could have been really great, but it's like they messed it up so bad. Like they're comedic heels. That's what they are now. They're comedic heels at this point.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, like I said, this was a car wreck of a match, but you got a point. Is that they had to do a car wreck of a match to get the tag teams more over like this, just to get the pay-per-view. So makes you wonder, really, it really does. But let's move on to the next match. The women's intercontinental title, which I did not know this was a no disqualification match, and I must have missed something on Raw when it happened that Monday. But Becky Lynch versus Bird Girl, Lyra Valkyria. First question I want to ask is this: what do you think about Becky's new music since I guess she got Def Rebel?
I to be honest with you, I did it. I couldn't really hear it. It just sounded like a whole bunch of just guitar riff, and I just couldn't really like try to hear it and try to see if I like it or not. I'm probably gonna have to hear it tonight if she come out tonight, and and see if I like it. But in that stadium, I could really get into it to see if I like it or not.
Yeah, I heard it. Maybe I'll give it another listen to it. At least gotta get my full thought. But it's like when it like if this is another Def Rebel thing, it's like, dude, just fuck Def Rebel. They suck. They really, really suck. Okay, so and I'll say this too before I move on with the match. Somebody was trying to tell me this like the other day about the episode of South Park when Stan just sees everything as shit now.
Yeah,
It's almost like he was trying to claim, oh, it's the times. I'm like, I don't think it's the times. They just really suck. It's nothing to do
yeah,
with the times of music or anything. This has nothing to do with that. They
yeah,
just really bad. It's like when they say like, well, the wrestlers picked the theme songs, and I say, yeah, they picked the worst thing they could. Like, they picked the best thing out of shit they were already presented. It's like they picked the best worst thing. So I don't think it's the times. I think these people are just really bad. And then I already heard they got accused of using AI now for their music, so that makes it even worse.
see, there we go.
There you go. But to be honest about this match, this was way too long. I don't know why they gave this 25 minutes. To be honest with you, this whole feud with Becky and Bird Girl, it's been kind of whatever to me after a while. And like I know they had Bailey involved in it too, but it's kind of like I do feel like it's a desperate attempt to still get Bird Girl over, and Becky's doing her best too, giving it to her, her fellow Irish woman. And hell, she tried to get over in NXT also, if you remember that with the whole NXT Women's Championship. But it's like the fact that, and I guess it's the blow off match now, but the fact like this went long and we got, because at first I really didn't know it was a no DQ match. I was like, this no DQ, like I just must have forgot. And it's like you got a crowbar out there, you got a kendo stick and everything. Which, by the way, they kept walking by the crowbar throughout a lot of the match and didn't really go back to use it as much. But even like with the weapons they had involved, they had Becky end up zip tying. Bird Girl's wrist and everything together, which she kind of got out of it and then had to put it back in there. And it was like she had it so long, she kept trying to fight with the zip tie on, even trying to do like I think she did like a flip. I don't know if it was a moonsault in that, but she did something. And then they got a toolbox then out there and some more tables in the ring and like chairs set up. And Becky is just trying to go after them multiple times. Even what Bird Girl and do like a belly to belly with the zip ties around her and stuff. And I guess she still tried to break out of it. Like she had those on for a long time and still couldn't cut it up, even having a fire extinguisher. It looked like she just went back under the ropes and somebody was waiting under there so they could free her from the zip ties. And after they do the whole fire extinguisher thing, Bird goes back with a kendo stick then. And I think she did like her finisher to the outside because she did her Nightwing thing off some steel steps to the ground. And still it's not over. And even what Becky did like a manhandle slam on like some chairs in the ring, it still isn't over. And I'm like I said, this was so long. I'm really surprised how long this went. It even got to the point where Becky got the upper hand and then she was on the ground lying with like a chair around her neck because she had a chair around her and it kept crashing back and forth into the table. And then Becky, she had a crowbar again, but Bailey stopped her. And then Becky kept telling Bailey like, do it, like turn, because that's one thing without the faces throughout both of these nights. They got to be conflicted. Like, oh my God, do I do it? Do I turn on my values and go heel or not? And basically Bailey didn't pull the trigger on a Bird Girl and went back after Becky then. And I guess they kind of brawled all the way to around the ring, and she had the chain in her fist. But Becky was able to fight off Bailey. But then out of nowhere, Bird Girl comes like a big leg drop through a table to the outside. And like I said, they get back in the ring then and still go back and forth. They try to go for each other's finishers and stuff. Bailey came back and swung at Becky, but Becky ducked and ended up hitting Bird Girl. And then Becky hit the manhandle slam and won the match. I'm once again, to be honest, this was way too long. I thought this was one of the worst things of the night. It's like I was kind of with the match at first, but it just kept it dragging. It didn't need to be 25 minutes. It was too long. It was way too long.
I kind of got a different take on it, like how I see, even with even with Lyra, I'm laughing at your nickname for her. That's why I'm laughing. But even with Lyra, I think she is in that in that spot that she is like people chanting with her, people with her and stuff. I think it's like she at the spot that she need one big thing. You know what I'm saying? Like one big thing to get her over, to get her to that next spot. Like people is with her, but she just need a few something, and she gonna be catapulted because they want to be with her, but they just need something to be with her about. You know, um, people see right through the helping her out thing. So they look at her as like, okay, yes, we cheering you, we like you and everything, but we can see what they doing. We see that they over here helping you out, and we see you have to work with a bigger star, which is your friend. We know that in real life. So people kind of see through that. As far as the match though, how can I say this? It's one of those matches that if they would have cut 10 minutes off and made Bailey do something else different other than the whole conflicted thing, if you take 10 minutes off and take a part or two off of Bailey interaction, I think you got a banger. You know what I'm saying? Because they will beat the hell out of each other. So I think you got a banger if you take 10 minutes off and made Bailey do something else. Like for example, when Bailey would do that conflicted thing, Bailey should have been already at ringside. Not ringside, but at least at at the in the audience or at the commentary table or somewhere near already watching the match instead of just coming out of the clear blue. Okay, it made it look like you were there to save Lyra. So it didn't make any sense for you to, oh man, Becky telling you to hit her, but for what? Aren't you there to save Lyra? What was that all about? That didn't make any sense. It just didn't make any sense at all for her to be conflicted hitting Lyra if you was already there to save Lyra. It just didn't make any sense. If they would have made Bailey do something else and shave 10 minutes off, I think you got a match. The step time thing, shit happens. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that shit happens. It just I don't know what else you can say to it. One of those they thought in their head they probably practiced it with doing that little belly to belly slam with the step time. They just probably just didn't think all the way through with it. You know what I'm saying? Um, they probably not ever going to use the step time like that ever again. But overall, I thought the match was good. To me, like I said, it was just too long. That's how I felt about it. But other than that, I really thought the match was good, and they really had the crowd participation with them.
Yeah, even when I guess they started doing the Mexican wave too at one point, this guy saw that. The crowd they was starting to amuse themselves a little. Like I feel like the crowd was hyped for the spots, like the big like hardcore stuff. But you kind of tell how the interest was going once they started doing the Mexican wave.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just like I said, it was just too long for me. But let's move on to the next match, which was another somewhat I don't know how to think about what it was one of the worst than that. One thing I will say, since Metro Boomin was out there in the crowd, why don't they hire him to make the music for this company than Def Rebel? Let that. Yes, I think we would probably rather hear him than whatever Def Rebel has. So yeah, Metro Boomin wants some more, nigga. But moving on, a steel cage match for the U.S. Championship. Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. I feel like everybody had a mask coming out throughout most of this show, so Jacob Fatu's mask was really good. Someone on Werewolf, but this match, I'm getting tired of the whole, nobody can get in the cage, nobody can get out of the cage and stuff. And I looked through this match and how it went. It's like it wasn't really bad. I feel like I was just kind of waiting for the interference spots to happen because Jacob even ended up doing the moonsault, but Solo kicked out. And then the discount bloodline comes out and they're trying to get in the cage, and then Jimmy Uso end up coming out later on, and he does like what, two super kicks, which I've said this before at this point. I know Steve said like Jimmy Uso is kind of useless because all he did was two kicks and that was it. Hell, Jeff Cobb is fucking useless out there at this point. The way it's like Jeff Cobb just walks and then he gets kicked. That's it. And it's in the same position as Tongaloa, but Cobb looks even worse out there. And I know they want to get Hikuleo over with it because he's knocked down Jimmy Uso, and then, he gets to the top of the cage in a way, and Jacob's trying to fight him off, but I guess he handcuffed him, and then Solo tried to get out. But somehow, some way, Jacob just ended up breaking through the handcuffs and went back after Solo, and he's just trying to get out several times, and he ended up knocking everybody down, obviously, and until they got the door unlocked again, and Solo ended up getting out of there then, and Solo retained the U.S. title. And then after, what got me about this match too, once again with Jeff Cobb, is like when Solo's telling him to come here, like, hey, get over here and everything. It's like I said before, Jeff Cobb, like, he just walks and then he gets kicked. That's it. That's all he really did in this match. He walked around and got kicked. Like, I will say this, I feel like Jeff Cobb's been dead on arrival ever since he got in this group. I think what doesn't help also is I didn't want to go off the size thing, but even my friend, like, he looked like a fan that jumped a barricade that looks lost in where he's going right now. He just like some fat dude because, like, I didn't know he was that short. It's like he's shorter than everybody in the group. Obviously, he's the fall guy, but he has not looked good in this at all. Like, he has not. And then, like, Jimmy ends up throwing both, Tongaloa and Cobb in the ring, and Jacob does his big moonsault off the cage. Which, by the way, Tongaloa took all of that moonsault. He got hit hard. Like, Cobb got hit in the arm, maybe a shoulder, but But Tonga Loa got damn near hitting the head all the way to the ground. He took that moonsault pretty deadly. That was rough. So it's not much to say about this match, but when it just comes to the cage match now at this point, the whole nobody can really get in, get out. It's like, dude, anybody easily can get in and get out at this point, with especially with several interferences happen. So I wasn't really the biggest fan of this match. This feud
Yeah,
continued.
yeah, I'm not really a fan. I wasn't really a fan of this match either. They didn't really do too much to wow me in that cage. Um, it's this MLT fake bloodline stuff, man. It's just I Hikaleo not ready. Just point that out right there. Um, what happened to the other brother? Like, is he still injured? Like,
Tomatonga, yeah, I think so.
let's see, they never together, you know. And then, like you said about Jeff Cobb, I want to add this another thing to it. It's like I don't think it's too much of the size. You could have made him look like a killer if he would have came out by himself. I mean, debut by himself. You know what I'm saying? You could have made that man look like a killer. But when he come, when he comes out with a group that everybody dwarfs him, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody dwarfs him.
Look bigger in New
Everybody talk.
Japan.
He looked bigger than New Japan because he was, but not height wise. He was never height wise because I know it has to be a few guys in there. That at least was Okada height. You know, so I think you could have really did something with him if he would have came out by himself, debuted by himself.
Yeah,
But
than
he
being a
didn't.
henchman,
There we go.
which is not even Samoan. The man's Hawaiian.
There we go. And so now we got him as a hitchman. And what gonna happen when they decide they wanna let him be on his own? Are we supposed to believe this man who been getting super kicked throughout the whole time that he was with Solo? We supposed to believe him now? He a killer by himself? That's not gonna happen. So I really I do feel like he misplaced, and that's the reason why everybody kind of see his flaws. You know what I'm saying? Because now everybody look at it like, man, yeah, he is short. Yeah, he is a little dumpy. You know,
Yeah,
you know, man. Well, what happened? Nah, yeah, it's just I think you could have had something better with him if he didn't have to, deal with uh being a solo hitchman.
yeah, and Solo, which I'll give Solo credit, he was able to develop a personality now, so at least he kind of makes things entertaining throughout a lot of this stuff. But just looking at everybody in this group, it's a discount bloodline. That's why you got Jacob running through these guys damn near by himself without even Jimmy half the time. Like it's not the same thing. It's not the same bloodline. It's a discount bloodline, and none of these guys don't. They're not it. They want to make Hikuleo it, but like you said, he ain't really ready. And I saw the match on SmackDown with Jimmy. Some people feel like Jimmy should have done more to make him look stronger or something. But it's like I knew this guy. Like he's big, but even in New Japan, he still wasn't ready like that all the way.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like you said, like you know, it coming from you who watch New Japan, regularly, and for you to say, yeah, he wasn't even ready over there. I don't even know what WWE thought that he was just gonna magically be ready soon as he come over here. That's not gonna happen.
He got slightly better in New Japan once they kind of had him by himself, and well, then again, he was in a tag team also, but they were really trying to go off obviously his size and how tall he is.
Yeah,
But it's like it's still not ready over there yet. So yeah, when I look at this group, it's like they ain't it. Okay, like I know he's like God's big like brother, also Tongalo and Tamatonga's brother, but no, this whole group is not it. And it's like I guess this whole feud with Jacob and them continues. So we'll see what happens next then with this. But
yeah.
let's move on to the next thing. The only match without a stipulation through the night, which I like to call the Eddie Guerrero tribute match. Which especially since they talked about the match years ago, 20 years ago, with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. Almost kind of crazy to believe Eddie Guerrero's been dead for 20 years now, which is kind of wild to believe now. But everything in this match had something to do with Eddie Guerrero, with what did they say? Like it was like some prototype gear that Dominic was wearing from Eddie. AJ Styles coming out on a low rider with his son, but then again, which is kind of crazy, you can see people actually pushing the low rider from behind. But he does like the hydraulics thing, and even wearing like, and I gotta say, AJ Styles Eddie Guerrero gear was cold. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. That gear looked cold, like the with the flames and everything. Like I know a lot of people always take inspiration from Eddie Guerrero's gear and put them on their gear, but his gear looked great. And mostly throughout this match was, like I said, a lot of Eddie Guerrero spots throughout in here. From, the lie, cheating, stealing thing with the chair, obviously, with Dominic hitting on the mat, and then AJ just kind of put the chair, put it around his own head then, and, on his neck and stuff, which was pretty funny. Obviously, Dom doing the frog splash, and even a 619, and even towards the end of it, AJ went for the calf killer, but I guess he took Dominic's boot off and everything. And I thought it was about to end like Kurt Angle versus Eddie from WrestleMania 20, but AJ tried to lunge at him. Dominic ducked. AJ almost knocked the referee down, and then Dom ended up just hitting AJ with the boot and did a frog splash and won the match. So I'm not really surprised Dominic won here because AJ pinned him last Monday anyways. But yeah, this was just the Eddie Guerrero tribute match here. The only match without a stipulation. So yeah, once again, it's a lot of callbacks in this match, but I figured Dominic was gonna win anyways, even though I kind of forget Dominic is even the Intercontinental Champion half the time, too. But it was
Um,
good though. It was a good match.
yeah, here's the thing. Another match that kind of conflicted me, cause I also agree it was a good match. 'Cause how these guys worked and everything. There was really no screw ups or anything like that as far as that. But I felt like a lot of spots where they was doing a callbacks, it kind of took away from what they wanted. I mean, what they were doing. It seemed like they had to break up the match to do the callbacks. You know, like with the whole referee thing. I just didn't. I don't know. I must have missed something. But that first distraction where Dominic got to slam the chair and throw it to AJ, one of my favorite spots from Eddie Guerrero, had me rolling every time he did that. But it just felt like it was contrived. It was like you have to distract the referee to order to do this. It's just I don't know. It just felt like they had what they were doing the callbacks. It was kind of took away from the match. They probably had, I just think they could have probably had a decent match if they did one callback and that was at the end. That at the end that would have been a better callback. I mean a good callback with a good match. But I don't know. I just felt like they kind of took away from the match to try to do the callback.
Yeah, and I guess the idea too is that Dom, I guess he unloosened his boot then, so like he knew AJ Styles was gonna go for the calf killer, so that's why he kind of went for that too. Once again, it's the callback thing too. It's just I think with this match, once again, it's like you said, I feel like I liked it and it was good, but it was on a big reliance of callbacks throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's the Eddie
Huh.
Guerrero tribute match,
Yeah.
so I do feel like I said, I enjoyed it. It just like I said, it just just a lot of callbacks in it, and it only went like what 10 minutes if I'm not mistaken too. So it's like it was good for what it was, but crazy that this was the only match without a stipulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um, I do agree that it kind of suck out like a sore thumb.
yeah, especially with everything being a stipulation hardcore match on the line. So yeah, but let's move on from that to get towards the main event, I will say this, even though I feel like we talked about this already, and I've talked about this with Shaggy, it's just kind of crazy. Okay, Stephanie McMahon, says the attendance. So let me get straight. You went 50,000 the night before, but somehow you got 60,000, got 10,000 more, huh? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that kind of throw me off too. Like, oh well, I guess y'all wasn't sold out yesterday.
I'm surprised they had a bigger stage for once. Usually they don't even make bigger stages anymore. Maybe I guess they have to block out the tarps from behind, but yeah, you never see a big stage with WWE nowadays. So at least SummerSlam they did, I'll say that. But we do get to the main event though. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes in a street fight for the WWE Championship. And I saw, Cody coming out with the Dusty Rhodes quotes and, the gold American Nightmare mask. And Cena now being back to a full-fledged face. And, I'll say this as we go on through this match, him magically turning back into a face on SmackDown, which almost telling me it's just like they just gave up on this whole heel turn and we're just going to go back to being a face. Because it's like, yeah, his whole heel turn has been weird. I still think the best thing he had out of it was the CM Punk stuff and, just this match itself. But the fact that he just came out on SmackDown saying, like, I've seen the error of my ways. I'm a good guy again, everybody. Like, I'm the real John Cena again. And it's like, dude, like, that's it. You just magically turn back to being a face just like that. So I guess I don't know. Some say it was already in the plan, especially once we get to after this match. But it's almost kind of like what they didn't have any other ideas. Triple H, creative, and I guess he didn't know how to pivot or come up with something. And we're gonna get to more of the heel turn when we get to the end of this match, especially in just talking about this heel turn in general. But it's just kind of crazy that I'm gonna magically turn back to being a face. And throughout this match, I'm thinking this is a ruse, or it's gonna be a double turn, like Cody's gonna turn, or at least Cena's got everybody fooled, and then he'll turn throughout the match because he was hamming it up big time out there. Because he comes back out and does all the colors and talks to Stu and does his entrance, and then he's hugging, the announcer, Alicia Taylor, and then he's hugging Cody Rhodes. Then and this was a great match. Some would say probably the best Cena match out of this run right now. But, they brawl and everything, and stuff. And obviously they got kendo sticks immediately in this match. And even Cena taking Tyrese Halliburton's crutch, since we all know he's injured right now, and he took the crutch and just does the you can't see me thing in front of him and beat Cody over the back with it. And even threw some ring steps at him from the outside. That was pretty crazy. Cody couldn't even really block that all the way when you really think about it. But they do that. And Cena even doing like his big what was like his leg drop or something on top of Cody in the match. He does that. I know Cody ended up power slamming him. And I'm trying to name all the big spots here. They start battling each other with chairs then. I think Cena dropped his chair and went back for Cody and he reversed Cody and just knocked him into a chair, I believe. And then Cena starts doing like his 5 moves of doom then. And, he goes for the 5 knuckle shuffle and gets Cody for the FU, but Cody gets out of it and he does his bionic elbow thing and then his cutter, but still a near fall. And Cena ended up he picked up Cody, if I'm not mistaken, hits the FU, big near fall, goes for the STFU. Still, Cody was able to get out of it. Comes back with the cutter then, does the electric chair. And here's one thing I know people aren't gonna like this, especially how WWE has protected the pile driver so much in many months now, like it's a killer move. The fact that Cody did a pile driver here and then this match went on another 20 minutes is kind of funny in a way. It's almost like we're not even gonna sell the pile driver at this point. And fans, I think were chanting, "You can't do that." One thing to say throughout this, and I'm sure everybody thought it would have been a double turn just to go back, was that Cody was getting booed a lot throughout this match as Cena was being cheered. And through the power driver, I guess, Cena act like he was out cold, but he popped back up and hit an FU on him then. And then both were on the ground, and then they started trading spots then, and then Cody power bombs him, but Cena hits the STFU again, and they just end up, I think they went to the outside, or they took like the bottom rope off and then tried to keep choking each other and hit each other with the rope then. And then they go back near the table and stuff. Cena does a big code red to the outside on the floor. And then he FUs him on the Spanish announce table then. And it's still not enough. And That I guess, they got him in the ring. He pinned him. That still didn't work. Cody goes for the crossroads. That doesn't work. Still a kick out. They still keep going back and forth. Cena hits like another FU. Still a kick out. It's a finisher fest after a while when you really think about it. But then they got more Slim Jim tables out there then. And they one of them's trying to put through the table after that, and then they're both on the floor, and then they go over the barricade. They fight through the fans, and then Cena takes like a piece of the barricade, hits Cody with it, but Cody end up suplexing him on the barricade, and then they fight through the curtain, and on some incredible Hulk shit like here, they go back to the entranceway through the platform Cody came up, and Cena's carrying him. Almost like he would turn heel right there when you really think about it, just with all the smoke and all that stuff. But it's like but Cena FU's Cody onto the stage then, and then he's trying to drag his body back to the ring until he gets him in, and then Cody just pops up, hits the crossroads, still doesn't work. And I think he tried to hit Cody. Cody hit Cena. Well, it wasn't the head. It was the head with the chair, but Cena, obviously put his hands up. And like I said, they got the turnbuckle, the bottom turnbuckle, and kept trying to hit each other with it after unscrewing it. And Cody just like tried to choke him with it, but Cena ended up trying to choke him with it. And then Cena hits him with like three FUs, doesn't work. Cody hits three crossroads, still doesn't work. Both are really in disbelief, shaking each other's heads. And then like they get to the top turnbuckle, and they're fighting from there. And I guess Cody hit a cutter, a something from the top onto the table. It looked really inverted, so I couldn't tell. Fans chanted, "This is awesome." And then, Cena's trying to get back up, and then Cody just looked at him, and then he did a salute to Cena then. And I guess he hit one more crossroads. And after 37 minutes, Cody Rhodes retained the WWE Championship. So he is now the new champion. Why'd I say retain? He won. He is now the new champion. So that was a weird choice of words to use. But yeah, as I said, though, both were emotional. They hugged after, pyro and everything. So nobody didn't turn. Cena didn't pull a ruse on everybody. And yeah, Cody, even though there was many times he looked like he was going to turn heel, he still remained it a face. And they both said thank you to each other. And we'll get to the next part in a second, but what are your thoughts on everything that happened here? Just this match itself.
Um, I just felt like back to the. It kind of reminded me of the Becky Lyra match. It's like, if you were going to do some of the same spots over and over again, I think you could have shaved a few minutes off this match if that was the case. A lot of table spots was in this match. You know, a finisher spam fest was in this match. If we were going to get a lot of finishes, you could have shaved a few of those finishes, and you could have shaved a few of them those minutes. You know, that's what this night was all about. It was just two the wrong matches. I mean, the right matches got the time, but they got too much time. And I just felt like this was one of those matches that got too much time. Because on a simple fact that you were going to do a lot of these spots over and over. Even though the fans were in it because of the star power of the match, because of course they were going to be in it. It's Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Of course the people were going to be in it, you know. But at the same time, I just felt like it was just too many spots that were just the same to me. And don't get me wrong, it was enjoyable. For I told you earlier today, the next thing that we about to talk about is what woke me up. So yeah, after a while, I was kind of like, come on, let's go home.
I want to say this before we move on to the next thing is that, I'll say this about the match. I think it was a crazy match, but that's the problem with doing all these hardcore matches throughout the entire night. It's like, what can you do different than what I saw earlier in the night? What's gonna be different? Because it's like, oh, it's a new DQ, no DQ match earlier. Yeah, it's basically the same thing as a street fight. So it's like they got to do something different from what happened earlier in the night. And yeah, it was a finisher fest, and some say this was literally Super Cena versus, Homelander out here. So I'm like, okay, obviously Cena wanted to go out big at SummerSlam, so they gave him as much time as possible. But I didn't think it'd be damn near 37 minutes out there because it was just turned to a finisher fest. And I guess a lot of people looked at this as a passing of the torch type of deal right here instead of nobody turning and stuff. Even though some people could have questioned, like, how is he passing the torch to a 40-year-old Cody Rhodes? I've already heard that. But that's basically kind of like Cena, like, passing the torch and losing the title. Because I'm gonna be honest, I thought John Cena would have been holding the title all the way to the end of the year. But given he just magically turned face and there was no double turn or Cena pulling a ruse on everybody, this was just a face versus face thing. And yeah, I was kind of like, is that really how it's gonna end? That's it, just a respect thing. But now we actually do get to the next part, which is gonna be a lot to say now about this. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has returned. Man, it's a lot to talk about here. The crowd went ape shit when Brock Lesnar came out because a lot of people thought we would not even see Brock Lesnar probably ever again, especially with the ongoing case that's going on. And we'll get to that in a minute because I got a few things I want to say with that too. But Brock Lesnar's music hit, and they, commentaries like, holy shit, it's the beast, it's Cowboy B Brock out there. And he comes to the ring, he takes off his vest and his cowboy hat, and basically, in a way, like SummerSlam a few years ago, Brock just comes out there, gets in the ring, F5 Cena, and that's it. They said the beast is back. So I will say this: I would have liked it better if it was a heel Cena going against a face Brock. Because now it's like, now I'm just going to see Cena versus Brock again from before. And I can already play in my mind how this match is going to go with suplexes, F5s, FUs. That's all I'm really going to see is a finisher fest throughout when the match happens. Do I really want to see this again? Not really. But given, once again, this is Cena's final year. So play the hits, folks, play the hits. And I will say this, obviously the internet is very mad about Brock Lesnar being back. Once again, with I guess the ongoing case. And even I believe the woman, Janelle Grant, I think her lawyer responded today. So they're pretty pissed off also that Brock is back. So I don't know if legal finally cleared him. Yeah, I know everybody's gonna bring up his name is on the lawsuit, even though it's a civil case, not a criminal case. And then again, he's not one of the defendants, but his name is mentioned multiple times. The first thing I really said, I was like, I guess I'm like, fuck a case then. Like, fuck a case, nigga. Fuck a case, nigga. Like, Brock back. So it looks like everybody just seems to be happy and the internet is mad because it looks like the internet has been mad with WWE for over the past week or two now. I guess when it comes to this, Triple H going to the White House, WWE, I guess, somebody said they doing 4 Hulk Hogan tributes, which I don't know why nobody's surprised. I don't know why anybody's surprised by that. That was going to happen anyway. So I don't know why nobody thought that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, a lot of people are really pissed at the WWE right now. But yeah, I think the meme that everybody's now playing today is Hoes Mad. Hoes Mad. Hoes Mad. Hoes Mad. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, fuck a case. That's what it looks like, but it looks like it's still going. So I don't know. Maybe TKO WWE legal team found something, or they needed Brock Lesnar back that desperately. I have no idea, but it looks like there's more coming out as this day goes on. So thoughts on this?
I definitely don't share that because here's the thing. We don't know. Here's the thing. We don't know what the case is about. It's still ongoing. It still could come out that he still did that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of a iffy thing. I can see why people is confused and like, wait a second, time out. So is he did do it? That's how people look at it. Like, so that's what y'all saying, but it ain't came out yet that he didn't do it.
Yeah,
It-
unless they did something, and until we found out something, we done. Because I was like, so he's cleared in, right? That's what I kind of
that's
thought
a,
about it.
he not he not cleared. He not. His name is still in there. So I
Yeah,
can see why everybody could be like, what the fuck is going on here? Because the case is still going. It ain't like they went to trial yet and it ended and everybody was cleared. No, nobody is cleared yet. So I can see why people could be like a little iffy with this. Like this is wild, because that's why I woke up. It ain't because Brock Lesnar is back. It's like, whoa, wait a second. As I looking at that, Bryce, I'm thinking to myself, so what's going on? Is the case going on? Is the case Did the case just disappear? I can feel like with the lawyers came out and everything. I can feel them on that. Like, wait a second, time out, WWE. Do you not know that the case is still going on? Why we see this man on TV? Like we just acting like he just clear that nobody know that everybody just know what's going on. Like, nah. And so I can see why you can see that part of why they people would looking at this with the side eye. But I also could agree with somebody like right back. Right back tweeted out today, and I'm not gonna quote everything he said, because that was too long, But at the same time, basically, paraphrasing that he he he's a fan and he looking at it from a fan point of view as man, Brock Lesnar is back, and we about to see another match with him and John Cena for the one last time, which basically Triple H basically just told everybody like this is what John Cena wanted, you know. I don't know if he's throwing a man under the bus because that's what it sounded like to me. Don't talk to me, go talk to John type of thing. But he said basically he said this what John wanted. I don't know how to look at it like that. Like, do we just move heaven and the earth for this man to get a last match with somebody who you ain't the last person, you ain't the first, and you were not going to be the last person that say that we wasn't clamoring for a Brock Lesnar and John Cena match. So if we wasn't clamoring for this match, what was it to get this man back? So what did y'all need? What y'all needed?
Shock
So
value.
right, because here's the thing, it wasn't like y'all wasn't like y'all had a good cash in on night one. So it was like people were going to talk. All you had to do was just make book better, but they went the lazy route and say we're going to save a surprise for later. It's really not a surprise because it kind of backfired. They canceled all their press conference after, right?
I saw that. Yeah, I heard they didn't even do the press conference after.
It's a reason why they didn't do it.
They don't want to answer those questions.
Bingo. So if you knew that you wasn't going, if you knew that you couldn't answer those questions, why did you do it? That's why I couldn't really share that sentiment with you because I at with I'm kind of in like a tug of war with this. Like I don't know how to feel about this. On one hand, should I feel like we go to get a good match between him and John Cena, or the other, or should I feel like eh, this case is a lot bigger than this damn entertainment because we don't know. It could come out. It still could come out, and how bad that could look. It can still come out and they did every single thing that they just said. We don't know, but guess what? If it can, how this gonna look? I think they should have. I think they should have tightrope this, man. I don't think they should have did this because we don't know. It could still come out that they did this shit, and then now they got egg on their face.
I will say this: it is surprising though. Like to be serious though, I will say this: it is surprising. Like, yeah, we don't know because I'm like, okay, he's back. I'm like, well, shit. I was surprised. I really didn't believe he'd be back because now people believe since he's back, a lot of people assume Vince will be back now. They'll make some loopholes for Vince. So I've seen a lot of people say that now. But it's like, yeah, once again with the match, I'd rather see a heel Cena versus a face Brock because that would at least been a little bit different. But in regards to just Brock being back and WWE just not even want to answer any questions now, and like you said, kind of somewhat throw Cena under the bus, like, yo, well, he wanted this. It is surprising given that it's still going. It's not like the case isn't over. It's still going. But I guess WWE or TKO legal team must have found something because some people said, well, they wanted to get Brock at this point, they would have done it already. A lot of people kind of pointed out to that, but it's like, yeah, he's not part of the defendant name, but his name is mentioned like multiple times in there. Like we know, what's going on and why he's involved in it, but it is quite like I was surprised, but I think I don't know. This is just a one time thing right now with him until they really get him clear. But it's almost like you said, Cena must have wanted him back that badly to do one more match. So I don't know if he's back like that. I'm not sure, but it was surprising. So yeah, I guess it isn't over, but just the reaction of the internet, it pissed off a lot of people. Some are happy that he's back, or some are just either gonna say, "Why would you bring this person back?" Or like say Triple H is running this rapist company. It's a sexual trafficking company or something. And I guess a lot of people looking at it, Triple H now is like, I guess given he was standing the Trump with Trump, the other day, it's like, why is he around him? What about the Epstein files and stuff? So now they've gone at him too. So it's crazy though. It is wild that he is back. So it's got to be some legal loophole. I don't know, but like I said, it's not like the case is over. And like I said, her lawyer did respond today, so she did put out a statement.
I mean, you know, was anybody surprised that he was going to put out a statement? Nobody surprised. It was no. They couldn't surprise me with anything that could have happened after this. After they saw Brock Lesnar on WWE TV, they look like, hold on, wait a second. They just ignored everything what's going on right now. Like it's just like it's just too hot to touch, man. I don't know, man. I wouldn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole. I don't know if you really needed Brock Lesnar that badly. You know,
I
just
don't think
a,
that the ratings have gone low.
here's the thing with the Raiders. It's like I heard about them taking a dip, but they ain't take a dip. They lost a few 100,000. They went from a low 3 point a low 3.0, a 3.1 to a high 2.8. They acting like they just, oh my God, did you just see this dip? Man, we got to get Brock Lesnar back. No, let's not press the panic button. They pressing the panic button. That's what it is. They pressing it hard. Panic, panic, panic. Like, no. All you have to do is just book right. Stop being so lazy. You got talented wrestlers. They talented on the mic. They talented in the ring. Utilize their skill. Make them better. You don't need your next pay per view will Clash appearance. Do you really need Brock Lesnar for a Clash appearance pay per view? If he gonna be there? No. What's the next pay per view after that? Probably I don't know. Well, that fast forward to November because that's the next big one. You know what I'm saying?
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series. You needed Brock Lesnar for that. If you were booking it right, the next 3 months would probably be good. You could book it right, but nah, they press the panic button and they have to get Brock back.
Like shock value, like pop the crowd.
Yeah, they got it. They got the pop. Don't get me wrong. It went nuclear. That was the nuclear pop. But at the same time, that you need Brock Lesnar back that badly in the middle of a case.
So he could
Uh,
face Cena one more time.
time.
Because
Uh,
there's two things I want to say. Like the first thing and the last question I'm going to ask through this. I do want to say this one more time because in a way I had fun saying this to somebody yesterday. Kind of made a man, but fuck a case, nigga, motherfucker case. I'm sorry, that's kind of funny to say. I'm being serious about it, but that was just kind of fun to say. But it's just I've seen the meme all day and the hoes mad meme. But no, in all seriousness though, like yeah, it does make you wonder. Like, did they really like move as many needles and strings that they could to do one more match though? And the last question I'll ask is this: did you think The Rock was gonna show up? And what do you think? Just Cena just magically being a face now, since I guess they had a plan already, to bring Brock back, but just the overall heel turn. And did you see The Rock coming out?
No, I didn't see The Rock coming out because here's the thing. I think they made it very clear when he said, "I'm going to be the only platinum rapper that comes out." So I didn't think Travis or Rock will come back. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't think it. Um, um, with the magical bass turn, they were cheering him anyway. You know what I'm saying? They 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 did a couple of boos. I think they did a couple of boos for Logan Paul. I think they just did it because he was sitting alongside with Logan Paul. I didn't think they really meant the boos. But I really think they were booing him because he was just standing next to Logan. Other than that, they were cheering him throughout the whole so-called heel run. The only good thing, I think you said it best earlier when we were talking off air. Everything was um the only good thing that he ever done throughout this whole heel run was the CM Punk promo, the CM Punk match. Next to this match right here, this one is even though I thought they just went too long, everything, but I thought this one of his best matches throughout the heel run. But yeah, the heel run didn't really click it, and I think that's what they saw. They like, man, fuck it, John. Go out there and just turn face.
Blades had no more ideas. He
We ain't
ran
got
out
no
of
more.
he
Right, we
ran
ran
out.
out of ideas. Go out there and just turn face.
I, I will say this about the heel turn. It's almost like, yeah, you got shock value at it to get go, but then again, The Rock not being there really didn't help. And I think another problem is that we know it's his last year, okay? So it's like you're doing a heel turn when you know he's on his way out the door and you know people are going to cheer him. And also, he didn't really do anything dastardly enough to make people really want to turn on him, even like putting him with Logan Paul just by association. And it's like, I'm going to ruin wrestling. I'm like you, I'm in a toxic relationship with you all. You all try to be me. I never gave up on me. I'm gonna stay the same and keep the music and wear a different colored t-shirt still every week to sell merchandise and whatnot. Like he says, I'm taking the title. This is me. He sounded like a Saturday morning cartoon villain out there at one point. And he did nothing dastardly. It's like, yeah, it was cool when it happened, but it's like if you done this heel turn maybe years ago, maybe 5, 10 years ago, I think it would have been a lot of legs to stand on this, but it's not gonna work when he's on his way out the door. And yeah, maybe Vince had a lot of good reason not to turn him heel because one, obviously Cena sold a lot of merchandise, obviously the face of the company. He was too big of a face, even though fans were already turning on him at a point in time. And even given what we saw in the heel turn, Cena, I gotta say, it wasn't all that. It really wasn't. Some think this is bad as bringing the NWO back in 2002. But listen, this heel turn, it's not on the level of Hulk Hogan. It's not even on the level of Stone Cold Steve Austin when he turned heel, okay? Because then again, both of those guys were still actively going in their companies in WCW and the WWF, okay? Like with Hogan, obviously it turned into the NWO, and we saw how big it was with Hollywood Hogan. And with Austin, it's like, yeah, it was a big deal with McMahon, and then, the two-man power trip, even though the heel turn wasn't all that, from its first, like, shaking hands with him in Mania, it was shocking. And I've said this before. I still feel like they should have waited till Mania to turn Cena heel with The Rock and doing an elimination chamber. So it just got to the point where it was almost like we don't know what to do. The Rock's not coming back. We don't know when The Rock's ever coming back, honestly. But The way he just kind of, and like I said, that whole interview he did with Pat McAfee didn't help. Like, hey guys, my job is done. The final boss is not needed anymore. I done my job, but you started a feud and you didn't even come back to finish it with all this soul taking like you're Shane Tsung from Mortal Kombat and stuff. And it's like, guys, it's almost like, hey guys, if we're not gonna do my idea, y'all gonna do what y'all want. But I'm gonna be over here. Call me when you ready to do my idea. So, and Travis Scott was just, he shouldn't have even been part of this. He just, no, he just, I've said that back in February. It's like he looked like a Make-A-Wish kid out there, and Cena and Rock look like giants compared to him. And it was almost like he got to be happy part of the team, like, hey, look at me, I'm part of the team. And I heard about the clips on Unreal when everybody was like patting him on the back, like, good job, man, good job, little buddy, type of thing. And then he just backs out and doesn't even want to do it now. So there's a reason why many shots are taken at Travis Scott right now, of all things. So no, it's like they just have to move on. It's like, you know what? We're just gonna go back to face. We can't do anything else with the heel turn. I do feel like there could have been something different. Like I said, I would have liked to see a heel Cena versus a face Brock. But I guess they was like, nope, go back to the old Cena. We're just gonna finish it off from there. That's what we're gonna do. Who his final opponent be? I don't know. I thought it was gonna be Cody. And then he drops the title then at the end. But different direction. So yeah, that's like the heel turn. I feel like just conclusion, it could have been better, but it just dropped the ball. Dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah, they did. Um, I say the heel turn kind of lost for me with like the second night. The first night when he came out to explain himself, I was like, all right, cool. This sound reasonable. This sound, you know, um, plausible that he could turn heel because of that. Because we were booing him at the time, and we was not really, you know, with him all the time. But here's the thing, Bray. It's only so much you could do with that. There's only so much you could do with the I'm taking the title and I'm the real world champion and stuff like that. It just seemed too. You said cartoony. I want to take it a level up. Yeah, it was just two 80s wrestling to me. You know what I'm saying? That goes hand to hand because the WWE 1980s was cartoony wrestling. So it was like he sounded like he was supposed to be out there with Hulkster. talking talking that stuff to Hulkster back in '86. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take the championship, and then Hulkster come in. I'm gonna wave the flag for the WWE. That type of stuff right there. But it's not 2025. Not now. That wasn't that
No,
didn't that wasn't gonna fly here in 2025. I just think everybody was just like, all right, cool. We just go along. We like you, Cena. We this your last run, but it was just asking the crowd too much to keep on going along with that cartoony ass promo.
hell, it wouldn't have worked in the Attitude Era. It wouldn't
No,
have worked.
I told you the perfect era was the '80s. That was that perfect era.
And I'm gonna say this one last thing too. What the hell ever happened to Truth? He just disappeared.
Yeah, man, oh
What
my
happened to that
goodness.
push everybody was talking about?
Man, bro, what happened? Like that was so crazy how everything with True just just poof disappeared like that. Like what going on? I
Like
just
Ron
hope
Killings.
I just hope that they doing something with him, doing something. You know,
It's like they did this whole. I still think it was a work, or maybe not a work, or it was a shoot turned into. I think it was a shoot that turned into a work. We brought him back. He had one match with Cena, and then like now it's just kind of he ain't even on TV now, or he was involved with the what was it the priest and Black feud, and now it's like I'm like, damn, was he like a real hot thing coming back? We got Ron Killings. He cut off the dreads. I'm thinking something big about to happen. I'm thinking we getting TNA our truth back, Ron Killings. I'm like, what happened? I would have at least liked to see him fight for the title against Cena. Didn't even happen.
I don't know. That was something. That's all I gotta say. Well, that was just something. Like, wow, it was just so quick and abrupt. Like everybody just said, "All right, cool." He got his match with John Cena. All right, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Move on. There you go. But I guess the last thing I can say, overall thoughts on just all of SummerSlam night two. And if you want to add anything with night one, just to say as an overall show.
Overall, night two. Overall, I'm just gonna talk about that first. It was just it's too many stipulation matches. Too many no disqualifications, too many weapons, too many breaking of the tables. It was just too much of that. You could have spaced it out between night one and night two. Night one was all the matches that really was forgettable. Um, you said it was just the main event. I want to add that I do seriously want to add that first match because that first match was the banger to me. I really like Roman and Jay versus Braun and Bronson. I really did because it was just a car. It was a car crash without all the interference and all the weapon using. You know, they I think did they go through a table? No, they went
Yep.
through a
Barricade,
barricade.
barricade.
Yeah, they went through a barricade. That's about it. Like the everybody was just showing off athleticism, throughout the match, and I was just like, yeah, that first one and that last match was good to me. The in between, I didn't really like it. Jade and Tiffany. It was just a subpar match. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just alright. Um, one of the quickest matches throughout the whole weekend was that match. Yeah, that's about it. I I really like certain parts of it, but not the whole weekend.
Yeah, I'll say this. Like night one, and I said this in a solo review yesterday. I didn't like night one. I felt like a lot of matches could have been on Raw and SmackDown. Other than the main event, that was obviously the best thing throughout the entire show. Um, like I said, a Roman match that wasn't bad. The Jelly Roll stuff, it was entertaining, but everything else is just kind of like you put all the eggs in one basket for night two, and night two was just everything was a stipulation match, and like I said, it was like some universe mode type of booking at one point. So it's like I like night two better than night one for many reasons, but it's obviously there wasn't a few things like night two. To me, the best stuff on here was the TLC match and the main event.
Yeah, yeah. I want to. It's hard for me, bro, to pick a match that I really like tonight too because no, I skipped that. The triple threat women title match. It's like even though I felt like it was it kind of seemed like WrestleMania Part Two, with just a different black girl, but at the same time, I I I think that really, was one of the best matches throughout the whole night. As I watched it the whole night, I was just like, the TLC match wasn't for me. Um, AJ Styles and Dominic was subpar. It was good for what it was. Uh, it was just hard that Steel Cage match sucks. They just need to stop making steel cage matches for a while. Just I won't want to see a cage until I see the double cage at Survivor Series. That's the only time I want to see a cage. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all not booking these steel cage matches good. From Drew the Priest Saturday Night Main Event to this, it was like I can't get into the steel cage matches. You know, it, it just seemed like it's just WWE steel cage matches because if you look across the board, even going back in history of steel cage matches, Bryce, it wasn't back in the day, they didn't use the steel cage match to try to fool you that nobody could interfere. It was because they were getting everybody to stop interfering. So that's why they use that stipulation. But in WWE world, we're gonna use that stipulation to fool the fans into thinking like, oh man, Solo is trapped in a steel cage with Jacob and there's nothing he can do. We know if the MFT was going to come out. We knew that. We was just waiting for a matter of time when it was going to happen. So yeah, they need to stop doing steel cage matches for a while.
They should be lucky Jesse Ventura wasn't on commentary for that match.
Oh, he would have buried it. He would have buried it.
Oh, he
My
would.
My goodness, man! I thought they would have had learned their lesson after he buried the first steel cage match at the Saturday Night Main Event this year. Like, what? Did y'all learn that lesson? Because that escape rule is one of the worst rules ever in wrestling. Seriously, it's one of the worst rules ever. Nobody should not try to escape. That should be the stipulation. The stipulation should be pinfall submission. That's it. That's all. That's how you win this match. I don't know. I guess they used the escape for the chicken heel to try to run away and everything, but I, I just don't like the escape rule.
I can get what you mean. Like I'd like to be with cage matches. It's like I guess I'm seeing so many people escape for so long, but it does make you like like I said, the cage is to keep everybody out and stuff. But somehow you just walk through the door and just kind of win from there.
Like how Solo win last night, he just
Went through
slipped
the door.
out
Yeah, he slipped out through the door.
and bam, he just on the floor. He wins the match. Like my goodness, that was weak. Like I know if you wanted him to win, shoot, you had all the interference in the world. Could have just used that. And they got inside the cage. Oh man, they beat up Jacob Fatu in the cage. So Soto came in 1, 2, 3. All right, if you were gonna let him win anyway, like that, I don't know, man. It just that was a weak, very weak steel cage match. Overall, with SummerSlam, it failed to live up to all the hype that it was getting. It was getting a lot of hype even before WrestleMania when we were learning that they were gonna have SummerSlam at MetLife Stadium with 2 nights. We were hearing about that for a while, so all that hype and all that build and all that it was a dud.
And I want to say this because I didn't get a chance to say this at the beginning of this whole thing. Me personally, I'm not really a fan of the whole 2 night SummerSlam. Like WrestleMania, okay, fine, I get it. SummerSlam, I didn't really think it needed to be 2 nights, and then I'm hearing the rumors about making Survivor Series 2 nights and
Come
The
on,
Royal Rumble. It's like we don't need that. You can do that in one night. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear the whole nobody doesn't want to sit through wrestling that long. Oh, well, I'm
you
sorry.
don't have to book a long pay per view. That's what people don't understand.
It's
Like
money. I get it. It's money at the end of the day.
but at the same time, you could book a decent length pay per view. Not everybody needs to. Not everybody deserves to be on a pay per view. I'm sorry. That's not a participation award. I'm sorry. If you didn't make your card because it was because your fuel sucked, sorry. That's all you have to. That's all. You just can't just get everybody a participation award. That's just not it, man. But that's what the era that we live in. Everybody gotta get themselves in. Did we need carry across Bears and Sami Zayn? No, we did it.
Ooh, yeah, don't get me started. I thought that was the worst match on night one.
It was. So so if we didn't need that, that felt like another match you could have just thrown on Raw tonight. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you could have just do that. You could have done that. I understand that you needed to get Jay and Tiffany they match because that was a part of the stipulation that for the Queen in the Ring. Get the whoever wins the Queen in the Ring goes to SummerSlam and get their title back. Understandable. So I just so I wasn't too much tripping on that, but y'all could have done more for me to be invested in this match because y'all didn't do more with the build to this match. So it fell flat. It was a lot of these matches that just fell flat to me that you could have. It wasn't SummerSlam worthy. It just wasn't SummerSlam worthy. It wasn't pay per view worthy. It just wasn't. A lot of these matches could have been TV matches.
Yeah, I said that a lot through the first night. I was saying that to a lot of people, and they agreed.
Yeah,
Especially night one.
yeah, especially night one. Especially night one. A lot of these matches, it's like they need they man. Look, nobody better be nobody better be praising this pay per view like it was just some type of swanton to to John Cena. Cause John Cena deserve a little better than this, if you ask me. His run, it'll be magical because the people that he was sharing the ring with, the Cody Rhodes, the Brock Lesnar's, the CM Punks. Yeah, when he was sharing the ring with them, there was something special, it was something
Ran-
magical.
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, I forgot. Okay, yeah, Randy Orton. Those, yeah, we saw all the greatest hits, all that stuff, but yeah, this SummerSlam kind of suck ass.
I like I said, and I did a solo review, and I'll just say this: like from an overall package standpoint, though, for both nights, it was okay. I wouldn't write home about it. Maybe a few matches, yeah, yeah. I'm probably like I said earlier. I think night two was better, but then again, like I said, did it need to be all stipulation matches? And then some of those matches were not really good at all. Night one was just really bad. I felt, other than the main event, I still think the main event was the best thing of night one for obvious reasons. Even though it was very predictable what we knew was going to happen, and I'll say this last thing too. You kind of called it. You kind of called it to me in a way. Like you already knew the whole leg thing was a work.
Yeah, they got me on Saturday. Don't get me wrong. On Saturday night main event, they got me. You know the whole how LA Knight walked off and like, man, what the fuck, man, what's going on? And how Seth was, yeah, how he would acted when he was, when the injury happened. But like I was telling you before, that promo that Paul Heyman said on that Monday kind of made me think like, nah, nobody kind of dismisses real injuries nowadays. It's not that with everybody having real injuries and how long they're gonna be out. Nobody kind of dismisses it like that anymore. Paul Heyman dismissed it like it wasn't nothing, and we was on to okay, but he could still hold the briefcase. If it was something serious, I think that briefcase would have been upheld because we can't have you off of TV with this briefcase, that long. So it's like it was a lot of factors that kind of made me think, yeah, it smelled like a work to me.
So now I get what you mean though. So yeah, it was like it's like after that, I just figured it was a work. The minute they say you could keep the briefcase, so I was like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
a work. This is a work. So like he can try to get on the Rich Eisen show, and even the video with Becky posting online with walking with his kid and the crutch. It's like the cat was already out of the bag. We was just, I was like, I knew he was gonna cash in on Punk the minute Punk won. So it's like I was just waiting on it to happen on Saturday, and it happened. So yeah, he went out and he cashed in on Fantastic Four Punk. So there you go. But yeah,
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, that's kind of it for SummerSlam. It's a lot of mixed bag here. Either you think it sucked, or you think it was really good, or you're in between of it. So, especially looking at both nights and stuff. But yeah, other than that, we're out of here. You got anything else to say before we go?
Nah, just follow me at Twitter, Straight Face 40. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, same here. I don't know whenever the next show will be that's big, but we'll see what happens, whatever the next big pay-per-view that's next for whatever company. But yeah, that's kind of it. So I will say, I guess before we go, should I do it again? Fuck a case, right? Fuck a case, fuck a case, fuck a case, nigga. I'm sorry, I like somehow that's really funny. No, either that or the meme I see everybody playing like hoes mad, hoes mad. Famous DX. So I'm sorry, I had to say that again before we go. But yeah, other than that, we out of here. See y'all then. Peace, comment, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. We out from here.